And we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to Beyond the Tool Belt, episode 282. I am your host, Ty Cobb Backer. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday edition. Today, we have another special guest. Stay tuned, and we will be back after our short intro from our sponsors.
GC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. GC Backer.
Welcome to Behind the Tool Belt, where the stories are bold, the conversations are real, and the insights come to you live, raw, and uncut. Every week, host Ty Cobb Backer sits down to bring you the stories, the struggles, the lessons learned, and the wins. No filters, no scripts, just the truth. Please welcome your host of Behind the Tool Belt, Ty Cobb Backer.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining us. And I must say, I'm very excited about this episode of Beyond the Tool Belt. And for those of you that know me well, know how important fitness, mental toughness, personal development, resiliency is to me. We talk a lot about those topics on this podcast outside of leadership, legacy, roofing, all kinds of crazy stuff, marketing, brand recognition, all those things. But personal development and physical fitness is definitely one of many things that I try to focus on and maintain on a regular basis. So that's why this one's so special to me today. We have an amazing guest. Today we have what I think is one of the most strongest people that I know. She is the CEO of Rachell Smith Fitness, personal trainer. She is a licensed vet technician. Let's welcome Rachell Smith to the Behind the Tool Belt stage.
Hello. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's such a pleasure. Woody, Woody, he's a mutual friend of ours, does not speak a ill word about you. He just thinks that you are an amazing human being, and we're honored to have you on our show. So,
yeah, he's great too. Yeah.
Yeah. So Rachell, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm on my lunch break actually. So
yeah. Lunch break from where?
The veterinary field.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're a full-time veterinarian?
So I do, I do full-time vet tech work. And then on the side, I'm doing so I work 3 days there and I work 3 days at the gym.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you work 6 days a week. That could open up a great conversation too on work-life blend. I like to call it blend.
Yep.
But okay, so let's talk about the veterinarian thing. Like, were you into animals as a child? How did you fall into that space? Before we get into the physical fitness aspect of things, let's talk about the vet space.
Yeah, so I always had a passion for animals growing up. So I used to play in the dirt and pretend like I was a vet. And then as time went on, I guess after my 20s, I wanted to figure out kind of what I wanted to do when I wanted to grow up. So I decided to go to college and get my degree and become certified. And I started off in the kennel and I worked my way up. I've been doing it for about 15 years now. Wow. And have worked from ER to general practice to specialty medicine. And just the caregiving for animals so they can't speak for themselves is very beneficial and rewarding. So,
yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. I'm an animal lover myself. We have 3 dogs and 3 cats, along with 3 grandchildren, and they're all amazing animals. But yeah, no. So, okay, that's fascinating. I think, most people that are veterinarians, I think that's something that goes back as a lifelong dream, as a child. I don't think that's just something you wake up one day, 40 years old, and decide to be a veterinarian. I think that's something that most people, are just truly love animals. And speaking of animals, do you think that had any influence on you in terms of the personal training aspect of things? Like, do you complement that? Like, cause there's, therapy dogs and therapy animals and things like that. Is there any correlation between the two?
I think there's a caregiving aspect to it. And then, some of the biggest things that I noticed leading into the fitness industry is one of the biggest things we ask people that come in at beginner, as I'm sure you're aware of by going to the vet, is when they come in and they're sick, is what's their nutrition like? Is there any environmental changes? Do they get exercise? And I don't know why we don't do that in the human medicine. That's not some of the typical questions the doctors ask you. And I think it's one of the first things that should be asked.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's a great response to that. No, that's great. Okay. So how did you fall into, let's jump right into the personal trainer aspect of things. Like how did that come about? Has that been a lifelong dream? Did something tragic happen in your life that you needed to, go through therapy or something, like how did that come about?
Yeah. So I always kind of was into, I would say, fitness, even in like, I did track, things like that in high school. But I also had a very negative, I would say, understanding of the fitness and the nutrition aspect. I think that our generation, in the 80s and 90s, we grew up to, eat salads, do cardio, eat 1,200 calories or less. And so I had a very misunderstanding of what health and nutrition was actually about. And so in our family, we had a lot of eating disorders. I was actually had an anorexia problem in my late teens and early 20s.
Wow.
And I started doing some HIIT classes with a guy named Chop about, 10 years ago or so. And he actually was one of the ones to get me into the fitness world. Kind of coming out my comfort zone. I'm very introverted. So to get on stage to me was terrifying, because we already have that mentality of, skinny fat is the kind of the thing, at least back then. And muscles weren't really something that women looked for. They were always afraid to be bulky. So they had that kind of twisted mindset, which I had. So he got me into it. And so I learned through the process how like your macros are, how important they are, eating your proteins, eating your carbs and fats. And it's just a balance. And so that's kind of what I realized I had a passion for, because for me, it healed me, and my view of it, all of it. And so I wanted to, and then everybody I talked to, I realized a lot of them had the same misconceptions about it, and they still do. And so then I went to school, and I got my personal training license and my nutrition. And I'm doing one for wellness, like for women's, like hormone therapy and things like that. And I want to be able to teach people how, I guess, misunderstood and how incorrect they are, that they don't have to be afraid of food. It was what fuels our body. It's what the fitness and the nutrition aspect of it prevents diseases. Elderly, we lose most of our muscle mass starting at like age 40 and all the way up to age 70. They lose like 40% of it. And lifting weights is what they've proven that increases that bone density to prevent fractures and things like that. Dementia, all those things that come along with like not eating healthy, and fueling our brains. And so that's something that I kind of want to get out there.
Yeah. No, that's good. I do believe there's a lot of misconceptions, and there's so many different diets out there, and some of them will help you lose weight quick, but not very healthy for other organs, in your body, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, all those types of things. And that's something I've struggled with over the years too. After my mom had passed, my wife and I, Gianna, kind of just went down this path of eating. It was like comfort to us, right? We don't drink, we don't do things like that. So we didn't really have an outlet, or we did have some outlets, but we chose to ignore them at the time and really just kind of like dove into food. And, I'm 5'6", and I had gained, like so much weight. I was up to 209. I'm 170 today. And just to, kind of give you the quick description of how bloated I felt. And it was like 30 plus pounds, and just felt, horrible. My mental fitness, everything. I just felt so bad. And so I went on a diet, and we did this. It was called Singular at the time. I don't even know if it's around. And it really wasn't a diet. It was more like an entire lifestyle change. And, I was under the misconception of like the less food I eat, the better off I'm going to be. And really all I was doing was I was starving myself. It affected my attitude. It affected my clarity, my vision, and all kinds of things. But then when I really started to dive into like the proteins and the healthier fats and good carbs, like my body actually needs carbs, believe it or not a whole bag of chips like I was eating at the time. But like I needed, like you said, that perfect balance of, and knowing my body, and of course working out and things like that. So why does fitness matter so much? I mean, I know that's a broad question, but like hit us with the real benefits. And what I mean, not just for great abs, but for me, I feel like it helps me, when I'm exercising and stuff, regularly. It boosts my memory, sharpens my focus, gives me more mental clarity and confidence. But like, give us the real reason why fitness is so important.
Longevity, I think, is the biggest thing. You can't starve yourself for long periods of time and expect to be functional. You also can't overeat crap foods long period of time and feel good. I think a lot of people don't realize how crappy they feel until they start eating better, because this constant cycle is, I don't feel good, so I'm gonna eat like crap. They eat, go and get a candy bar, they get that sugar high, they feel good for a moment, then they get the sugar crash. And those foods like sugars, they digest so quick, chips, things like that. And then so they don't realize how, like people that overeat, how much calories they're consuming in snacks and things like that, and wonder why they can't lose weight. Like, oh, well, I only had, this, and this. But those are so dense in calories and so vastly digested by your system, and then you're hungry again. So if they were eat, a protein, a vegetable or another form of carb, and some healthy fats like avocado, their satiety would be so much longer and they wouldn't feel hungry. And a lot of times whenever I do their macros and meal plans for people, and I start them off just at what I calculate, 17, 18, 1900 calories, most of them can't even get that in. And they're like, well, that's a lot of food. I'm like, and compared to what? You go out and get a McDonald's and you're eating 1800 calories just in one sitting, because you're eating whole, healthy foods. And they have to work up to that 1800 calories because it's a lot. It is a lot. It can be. But now once you get used to it, your body craves it. But that being said, it's proven that eating healthy foods gives you longevity. Now, I'm not talking about people that have like genetic disorders where they have like high cholesterol, and it's a lot of that is a genetic. But you need healthy fats for brain function, for your hormones. And you can see it today that there's so many hormones deficiencies, people getting on have to do HRT. I'm one of those people. And yeah, you're going to need some of that stuff just because that's just the natural role. That's the way things happen. God's created us in a way, and we lose those things as we age. A lot of that can be prevented just by doing better. But dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, all that associated with poor nutrition. And a lot of that can be prevented, but nobody talks about it. It's like one of the last things they do. They want to throw medications, and then you take a medication to counteract the side effects of the medication, but nobody talks about fixing the nutrition or having them go in and doing weight resistance. They just want to do cardio, and cardio isn't the all fix all. It's not actually what burns the most of your calories. What you do in your daily life, which is called what they call NEAT, your just normal activities, cleaning, walking, doing yard work, all those things burns calories. And then on top of that, then you add in the weight resistance, which builds your bone density, builds your muscles. The more muscle mass you have, the higher your metabolism. So, and the more you can eat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it that people don't realize, and they all go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to be that. You can be that 70-year-old that's still out jogging or lifting weights or doing activities with their grandkids, or you can be that 70-year-old that's walking around in a walker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I choose the latter personally.
Same.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I want to continue to be able to push my body. Right. And so when something's going on, I try to, I'm more apt nowadays to go and figure out what's off. Is my diet off? Is my sleeping off? Is, whatever the case might be. But I love how you touched on diseases and stuff. And I actually did a little bit of research, and Alzheimer's popped up, and for me, a lot of the reason why I exercise as much as I do is for my mind, my mindset, and to remain resilient. What I do in my personal life also reflects my ability and my work performance when I'm at work. For me, it like boosts my memory. It sharpens my focus and gives me more mental clarity and confidence. Right. That's a big thing for me. And I notice when I'm slacking off on those things, right, working out and doing stuff like that. But it also reduces the risk of Alzheimer's up to 45%, just simply because of working out. And they say stronger, body, stronger mind. And really, that's what I'm looking forward to. And it's a selfless act when you really think about it, by us taking care of our bodies, right? A lot of people might think, oh, you spend a lot of time in a gym, and it sounds pretty selfish and it seems selfish, but really, I'm really just trying to be here longer, for those that love me. It's the most selfless thing I could possibly do is take care of myself. And I don't think a lot of people see it that way. But I love how you also mentioned, the diet and the healthy fats and the foods and what you're digesting, and also the other types of ways that you're burning calories. Like, for instance, like this past weekend, I was out raking leaves and stuff. And I mean, for 2 days solid. And I keep track of my steps on my iWatch and my calories that I burn and stuff like that. Like, I literally, and I have it set up pretty high. And I closed my circles like twice by just out raking leaves, walking around the house, trimming bushes. I mean, we went all in out in the rain. It was raining, but I didn't have any other time to do it. But I didn't necessarily substitute that as my workout, but it was ironic to see how much activity, steps, calories, how long I was standing and things like that. But for me, it has really helped me step up my game by actually keeping track of. I've never really counted my macros or anything like that, but I wanted to. I did look into it, and I should probably do that. So I'm telling on myself right now for that. But also, living longer and living a better life. It's not just about, the years, but it's like the quality of years, right? Like, I want to be, like you said, 70 years old. I don't want to be that decrepit in a walker, 70 years old, other people taking care of me. Like, I still want to be that guy that's out jogging. I still want to be that guy that's out doing cold plunges and doing crazy things. Like, I want to be that crazy 70-year-old guy, that people are like, I can't believe he's still hitting a golf ball that far. He's 70 years old and don't look like he's 70 years old. You know what I mean? But it's what I'm doing today that's going to affect that for me later.
And people around you, because those are the ones that are going to have to take care of you.
Exactly.
Exactly. About that.
Right. Exactly. And to touch on the example, right. My grandkids, actually, so, Skylar, our youngest grandchild, comes over to the house, and it is normal for her to see us working out. Okay. She'll pick, I'll see where she was there when I wasn't there, and weights will be moved around. We got a little home gym there, and, weights will be good. And that's just normal for her. It's the example that we're setting. I wish I would have started this years ago with my first son. But he still sees it. And our youngest, who's still at home, there's not a day that doesn't go by, he doesn't hear me out there, doing something. Right. And, instead of me jamming it down his throat, I'm leading by example, because it won't be a good idea until he thinks it's a good idea. And plus, I'm not trying to push him away and thinking that working out is a bad thing or it's a punishment. I want him to, and most recently he broke his foot, but we were golfing together. So I was getting him outside, getting him to do things. And then he broke his foot. He's been laid up for a couple months now. So I kind of lost my golf buddy, but anyhow, just leading by example, it gives us more time with our kids on this earth and more time with our animals and our grandchildren, and not in the hospital bed.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
Very
good stuff.
true.
It's good stuff. And then I was pulling up some other statistics too. It says, I think 9% more on average, physically fit people earn 9% more, than an average, person that isn't working out. Discipline in the gym translates into discipline at work. Lazy body, lazy check is kind of what I've gotten from it. And it's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The more harder I can push myself in the gym, the more harder I'm pushing myself at work. And would you say that there's a translation there?
I do. I absolutely agree with that. And it's like the old saying, like the body in motion stays in motion, right? So many people live sedentary lifestyles, and you can see it just in like somebody that sits at the computer desk all day long. They get that hunched back, and it completely affects everything that you do. So like at work, I stand a lot. I don't sit in the chair even when I'm typing on the computer, putting in notes and things like that. But I try to stay, active, because I notice on the days that it's slower and I am seated more, the less likely I have that drive to want to go after work and go work out. If I'm busy all day long, it's like a pump, and you have more desire to go work out. And it has that opposite effect, which is weird, but it does 100%. But I think a lot of people want the quick fixes. We got the fad about the GLP-1s and stuff like that right now, which I'm not, people do what they want to. And I think that some people do need it. It was initially given to diabetics, but everybody wants that quick fix, and it's not sustainable. And they want to lose it, 3 months, 6 months, and you can lose it fast. You can also starve yourself, right, and lose the weight, but it's about habit forming. And that's what I preach to a lot of, my clients, is that I can cut your calories down, to 800 calories, 1200 calories a day, and you can lose that weight in a very quick amount of time. But did you form habits during that time to change the latter outcome? Or if you didn't, then those people are the ones that usually gain it back, or gain it back twice as much, because those habits weren't formed, or they killed their metabolism. And anything they do eat, they do retain, because they have no metabolism anymore. But it's hard. It's hard to change somebody's mindset they've taught something for so long. And that's just how they've been doing it.
Yeah.
But I think that's my biggest challenge. Besides that, and people always say they don't have the money, and I'm like, that's BS. You don't realize how much you spend on, like, I challenge people when they sit down with me for like their initial consult. I'm like, look, sit down in your finances, go through all the coffee shops you went to, all the places that you went out to eat, all the weekends that you went out drinking, and calculate it up. I did that with my husband when we first got together. And he was spending like $600 a month just on crap like that. I'm like, you cut that down to like 200, you're gonna have an extra $400 a month to spend. And I challenge people to do that, everybody, and just see where you're wasting it on. And you can use that extra money to find somebody to help you, to teach you the right direction. It's like saying, I listened to a lady on a story once that was talking about how comparing your fitness to, like, let's say I handed you $1 million business, and are you able to maintain that business? Probably not, because you didn't build it from the ground up. So you don't know all the ins and outs of it. You didn't learn from it. So that's like me giving you given you that perfect body that you supposedly desire, but you can't maintain it if you didn't learn how to do it. And that's what fitness is about. It's learning and changing habits to maintain that over a long-term period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
the quick fixes just don't work. And that's why, because it's not about just the end result. They focus so much on that end result, but they don't focus on the habit changing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it takes time. There's definitely a delayed gratification. And we've become such an Amazon world today where it's like everyone's seeking that instant gratification. And, I noticed that several years ago, we started a challenge. It's called the Fearless 44. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it or not, but it's like a 75 hard. It resembles that a lot. And I thought at the end of 44 days, like I was just going to completely be transformed, because there was a few people in that group that was like, holy shit. Like, I don't know what else they were doing, but I know what I was doing. And I definitely didn't look like them at the end of 44 days. Okay. But what there's a couple of things here. So first and foremost, it wasn't, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think I stopped working out weekly, daily since then. What it did for me was, one, I realized it. I was like, there's a lot more work that needs to be done here, kid. So you better keep at it. The other thing it did for me is it created a habit where I even have it on my calendar every day, workout at 4 p.m. Now I tried the morning workouts. It seems like it took more energy from me throughout the course of the day. And 4 p.m. is a good time, even though I don't make it home usually till about 5. But it's just a reminder, get your butt home. Because if I can work out by 5, there's a lot of things by like 7 o'clock that I need to be involved with. So it kind of helps me catch my second wind. It gives me that boost of energy that I need. And even if I don't have to go out and have a meeting that I need to attend to, I find that it helps me sleep better. And then I can eat, a good healthy meal afterwards. And it tends to just that works for me. But the delayed gratification and building that habit is so important to understand that, you just got to start somewhere. And if somebody was to start today, and let's just say they were intimidated by giving you a call or reaching out to another nutritionist or a personal trainer or anything like that, what would you suggest for somebody listening that wants to just make a change today? Where would they start? What should they do?
Just talk to somebody. Like I do. I know a lot of trainers do free consultations and assessments. Just talk to somebody. Even if you say, I'm just going to go to the gym once a week, that's once a week more than what you were doing. If you meal prep, just dinner, that's one meal that you're prepping more than what you were doing. And those little small steps and those little goals that you have are what produce the long-term and getting to those long-term goals. So doing 3 days a week, 20 minutes of your workout, is better than nothing. Just, you have to start somewhere, and you just have to, and I think the biggest part is that, the excuses, it's like, I don't have time, or, you can find time. You doom scroll on Instagram, you binge watch on your Netflix, you sit idle on the couch, whatever it is that you find you have time to do those things. Put your phone down, turn off the TV, be active, even if it's not at the gym, because you're not comfortable to go to the gym yet. You can get a gallon of milk. You can get canned goods. You can order cheap bands off Amazon. And, I've had clients that just do home workouts. You can make it work. You can do body weight stuff is actually quite hard. You can take I've done it before when I've been on vacation. You can take a can of beans or whatever, and it weighs, a couple pounds. You do enough reps, you're going to feel the burn. I know it sounds dumb, but it's true.
Yeah.
But you don't expect to sit there and be like, okay, well, I haven't done this really, or I haven't done it in a really long time. And in order to see anything, I have to do 5 days a week for an hour. That's not reasonable.
Yeah.
Just
you
start.
kind of got to build up to that. Yeah. I think you got to start somewhere, and you hit on a lot of good points. It's just go for a 30-minute walk. That is so therapeutic on so many different levels, getting outside. Now treadmill is great. And as far as health purposes, they both probably produce, from my experience anyhow, treadmill or walking outside. But one of the things that I like about walking outside is that it helps me clear my head a lot more than it would be just, sitting on a treadmill or, walking on a treadmill, listening to an audiobook. But when I get the time, and I got a nice little loop around our neighborhood, and I have it measured out. It's 1.5 miles. So it's about 3 miles total. If I go down, make the loop and come back, it's about 3 miles. And I typically do that after my heavy, lifting and stuff like that. I'll do that after. I've learned that it's better for me to do my heavy lifting and all those things first, then go for a walk. And I'm sure my routine's a little bit different than some people, but it helps me really clear my head and get my thoughts, because a lot of this isn't just physical stuff for me. It's a lot of mental, it helps me deal with anguish, stress, anxiety, types of things like that. And they say statistically, after the first 20 minutes, your body and mind go into a state of euphoria. And I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I literally, I time myself and I look between that 15 and 22 minute time mark. I actually start to feel different. I feel better. Right. Yeah. And I don't know if it's because I'm actually doing something physical, and it's boosting my confidence. Okay, I'm doing something. But like you said, a gallon of milk, that's 2 gallons of milk. And I also started out doing calisthenics and body weight stuff. And there's free apps on your phone, that you don't even have to pay for, and will basically show you how to do things. And you can do them at home in the privacy of your own home. And that was the entry for me, to kind of just wanted to do something behind closed doors. Now I don't promote what it is that I do. And by no means am I where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be, in terms of, wanting to look the way that I want to look. And there's still body parts and stuff that I need to work on, but I'm getting better at it as the days go by, the weeks go by, the years go by. I'm getting better at working out and things like that. But like you said, you just got to start somewhere, anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, okay, once somebody does that and they start to figure out, okay, I'm going to start walking and stuff like that. If somebody came to you and let's say they've never worked out before, they don't know where to start, where would you start them out at?
Usually, so my biggest thing is that for fitness and nutrition, it has to be something that you're going to stick to. It has to be fun. So for instance, everybody's a little bit different. I've dealt with people that have complete immobility issues, to people that's been doing it for a long period of time. So I try to make a plan that they're going to stick to. So I try to figure out what is that short-term goal that they have. Is it just to lose weight? Is it to build muscle? But there's usually more to it than just that. Is it health reasons? Is it because self-confidence? Is it because you want to be able to hike with friends because they go out hiking? I mean, it's just trying to find out what their initial reason is why they enter the gym or why they're looking for somebody to help them. And then I make a program off that. So whether or not some people just do 2 days a week, which I recommend doing at least 3, but it starts somewhere. And some people, they just start off hardcore. But I also have some people that want to do 6 or 7. I'm like, no, you're going to burn yourself out, because you have to have recovery and you have to have rest. Sleep is so important. Your recovery is so important. So you always have it's either one side or the other. But, and then the nutrition part of it, it's all also, you hear the 80-20 rule, eat 80% healthy, 20%, things that you enjoy. And I don't believe in cutting food groups out. I don't believe in cutting carbs out. I don't believe in cutting fat out. And of course, protein is very important. You also have to enjoy it, because if people have this thing of I have to eat chicken, rice, and asparagus all the time. That's not realistic. If you're maybe getting ready to get on stage in 2 weeks, then that might be the case. But most people aren't. That's not what they're looking for. Most people aren't looking just to get on the stage. It's just a lifestyle change. And if you want that little piece of chocolate, have that little piece of chocolate. You can fit that into your daily calorie and your daily macros. If somebody wants a glass of wine, then have a glass of wine. Nobody says that you can't. You have to cut all that stuff out all the time. So, because if you do, what happens is you end up binging or just saying, screw it, I don't want to do it anymore, because it's not realistic. It has to be realistic for that person. So when I build food plans, I usually say, hey, what are the things that you like and what are the things that you don't like? And then I give them a huge variety. So that way every meal can be different if they want to for a month, if they want it. It doesn't, but it's just all about the individual person.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I agree with that. And that's such a good way to approach it for somebody. It's kind of like, where I'm not removing everything from you. We just got to take it in moderation.
Right.
But I need you to eat more of these foods and less of these foods.
Mm-hmm.
No, I like that. I like that. But that's not a loophole either, because when I hear something like that, especially years ago, it's like, oh, okay. So on Sundays watching football, I can eat a whole bag of Cheetos. Okay. Gotcha. She said I could still eat Cheetos. No, because I've done that. I've literally have done that. And then I feel like a piece of crap mentally and emotionally and physically, after I've done that. But, so I know something I wanted to ask you earlier. You were talking about, I don't know what made me think of it, but are you, I think you were talking about like TRT and stuff like that. Do you believe in like, a more homeopathic approach, like cold plunge, saunas, grounding? I know grounding mats and sheets and stuff like that right now are getting pretty popular. And so is cold plunges. What's your take on all that stuff?
I think they're actually I've done a lot of research. My husband actually got me into it. He does cold plunges. I'm still, I've done it a little bit, but that's something that's really hard for me. That is a very mentally challenging thing to do. And I think that if you can do it, it's great. Because, man, cold plunges are tough. And I don't like cold water. I like being cold. I like the winter. But, man, water, like especially in your core area, getting your back and your abdomen and stuff down in that water is brutal. But it has some really good health benefits to it. It's supposed to help with your metabolism and all types of stuff. So I don't know like all the dynamics around it. Sauna is actually supposed to be very good, like post-workout, detoxifying and things like that. So all that's really good. I do believe in a lot of holistic, mainly because one, I don't believe in taking a bunch of medications. I believe take some supplements and eat healthy. My mom we found out, is onset dementia and Parkinson's. So that's where I kind of dug into it about 6 months ago, looking at like holistic things because they had her on like high cholesterol meds and all these medications. And so I slowly kind of weaned her off of it and put her on like high grade fish oils and like third party tested. I use Thorne products because they're great. And I put her on like collagen supplements and creatine. It's when I did my nutrition class, it's one of the most researched supplements out there. And I didn't know that. Like I was always told from other and like fluid influencers and things like that creatine can make you bloated. It makes you gain weight, it makes you hold water retention and all these things. And that really, it's not the case. Now starting out, yes, it helps. It pulls like fluid into your muscles, but it's really good for your muscles. So I take it now every day. And they've done research that creatine helps the brain. And they did a bunch on huge groups of like elderly people that were onset or into pretty far into dementia, and their memory, their cognitive function changed drastically. Like some of them up to 70%, which was crazy. Wow. So I dug into it a little bit deeper, and so I started giving my mom creatine every day. Started off like 2.5 grams up to 5. And it will, thank God, watching her from when I started till now, she would like walk into a room and like, I know we all walk into a room and forget what we're doing, but it was really bad. Like she would go help feed our dog because she stays with us. And she would walk back out and go, do you need help feeding the dogs? And I was just like, oh, or we would talk and it was like constantly repeating ourselves. And it's really hard to like not be like, I told you, because we literally don't remember. But it's gotten so much better. Her episodes that she was having, which were like every day, are now, they're very sporadic. So the one thing I could set up to is just taking her off like all these high cholesterol medications. And I'm not saying that taking those, like, listen to your doctor. Don't don't just go on taking off all your medications. But we put her on high grade fish oils. Her cholesterol is normal. Put her on, try to get her to eat like avocados and things like that, like better foods instead of like the sugar that feeds. They supposedly the high sugar diets feed dementia and all those types of things. So we helped her get off of that, more holistic foods, put her on the, like I said, the fish oils, the creatine, the collagen, the supplements. And I'll be damned if it didn't change so
Wow.
much on her. So now, like, me just seeing it in action, I'm like the big advocate of doing all those things. Absolutely. It's crazy.
Yeah. Just a few little tweaks.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's such a great story. And I was kind of hoping to pull something out of you like that, like from your experience, doing the things that you've done, and thank God you've fallen into the field that you're in, because who knows if what you probably wouldn't have done anything. You'd probably just watched her diminish.
Yeah.
But thank goodness you were in the field that you were in and had the resources to, kind of do some investigation into, different, supplements and things like that, and get her off some of the synthetic stuff and help her along the way. And that's such a great message to anybody out there. Obviously, yes, listen to your doctor, but always, research. Cause I've had high blood pressure for as long as I could remember. Hypertension. I was diagnosed with hypertension several years ago. And I've tried different things over the years to try to help, instead of taking, synthetic medicines and stuff like that, because I'm not worried. I'm worried about the side effects like kidney failure and all these things, because my body, the side effects that the synthetic stuff can do. And again, we're not trying to talk anybody into not taking what the doctors are prescribing, but also do your research on things, red beets and things like that are really good for, for blood pressure and so many other things. And there's just been some research that Janet and I have done. Like I've been, one of the things about cold plunges, the benefits of cold plunges is inflammation.
Yeah.
And how detrimental inflammation is to the human body. And so there's, we cold plunge every night. Jana and I both do. And whenever we're traveling, it's like, man, I wish they would have a cold plunge here. Like it is tough. It is definitely a mindset thing. But again, we're all about, putting ourselves in very uncomfortable situations until we start feeling comfortable with them, right?
It's a temporary uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
The longevity of it is so beneficial.
Oh my goodness. And like you said, there are so many purposes. I mean, inflammation, your skin, your hair, cold water is just so good. Metabolism, blood flow. There's just, and mental clarity. I keep going back to the mental clarity thing because for me, saunas, hot saunas, red light therapy, things like that.
I was going to bring that.
That's kind
red
of
light therapy. Yep.
Yeah. That's where I'm
at. With like hair growth, and pain.
Yeah.
We actually have, like, my husband bought one of those, a little red light. I don't remember the company he got it from, but he did his research. He always does research on things like that. So we got one hanging up in our closet. And it's supposed to help with acne and blemishes, inflammation. It helps heal. I've even done it when I, kind of tweak my back a little bit, and I would go in there and stand, and just afterwards it would feel so much better. And I felt like it helped me, the healing process progress a little bit better. But yeah, all those things. It's just funny how, I'm sure that, they say that came from NASA initially, like the red light stuff and the grounding and all that stuff. But I haven't really looked into the grounding part of it. But I do know that, just stepping outside, barefoot and the sunlight, the air, it is very beneficial for people. I have a couple girls that refuse to walk on the treadmill, and I'm like, go walk outside, find a friend or dog, something.
Yeah.
So clear your mind.
For sure. Best medicine ever is go for a long walk outside. Most definitely. Okay. So inflammation, how familiar are you with inflammation? I would imagine that you are. Let's talk about, because I think that's something that's not talked about enough, and how how negative it is for your body to experience inflammation and what that causes negatively to your body.
Oh yeah, it compromises everything. My mom went and had some lab work done. So I'm gonna use her as another example. She had so many things going on with her. When she moved in with us, she needed bilateral hip replacement. She was seeing a general practice doctor. Her thyroid was like off the charts. Her homeocysteine, which is your inflammatory response in your labs, wasn't even readable. It was so high. And she was just in chronic pain. She felt crappy all the time. She constantly in a brain fog. When she did get up and move around, it was just like the aches. And they were like, oh, it's probably just because of your menopause. Those random pains come with all that. Your hips are bad, so there's that. And it's just like there was always an excuse after excuse after excuse. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
there's got to be something that's causing all this. Like, why is her homeocysteine so high? Why? And they refused to change her off the synthetic medication. So we went to a hormone doctor in Fort Worth. She does all holistic type stuff. So even like her thyroid medication, it's like the NP thyroid, which is derived from like pigs.
Mm-hmm.
So she switched her to that. She put her on TMG, a supplement, which just helps with lower the homeocysteine response, and like MethoGuard, NAD. I'm sure you've already ever heard of NAD. It's supposed to be like the supplement to like. If you haven't heard of it, look it up. I don't know the long term for it. It's a very long word. And it's supposed to help just kind of rejuvenate your cells. And so we put her on all those things, and then like 6 months later, we took her back in to check all her levels, and they were almost all normal.
Wow.
And so I was just like, just taking medications, supplements, not drugs,
Mm-hmm.
to help with that inflammatory response is crazy. But it affects it affects your organs, it affects your everyday life. It makes people agitated. It causes depression. It causes anxiety. And then what do? We go in and we get on, medications for it because we can't tolerate it. Gut health is another big one, along with the inflammation. It causes severe gut issues. I mean, our microbiome in our guts are crap most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd be amazed on whenever you get your gut health in order, how like all that stuff, and then your inflammation, it changes everything. I didn't realize how much like gut health was so important to how you feel. And it really, I mean, you think about having, get a bug. I actually had one over the weekend, and it puts you down and out. Like it's the most uncomfortable thing ever. And you can imagine people that live with that all the time, and they don't even realize how crappy they feel.
Yeah. Mentally, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'm glad you brought up everything that you brought up, because I don't think inflammation, I don't think anybody thinks about it. You go to a doctor and they're treating the symptoms, but they're not investigating the root cause of, inflammation. What is it? From, I don't know, arthritis, a sprained ankle, whatever the case might be. And honestly, half the aches and pains, I think that we feel, it's due to inflammation.
Yeah. Lack of nutrients, micronutrients. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and that's why Jen and I both, at least for me, started to really get into cold plunges. We did it a couple of years ago, but we didn't do it as much as we do it now. Like it's not just a game changer. It's a life changer. I mean, it really is getting into, and we get the water down to about 40, 42 degrees. They say 50 and below is fine. But of course 50 is kind of like, are you freaking kidding me? We got well water here, So we need it to be down a little bit more. And man, I'm telling you, I was having some sciatic nerve issues, all stemmed from my hip. I was playing football and somehow my pelvic got, I don't know, twisted somehow in my body, and it created one of my legs to be an inch shorter than my other leg. And this goes back
misalignment.
Misalignment. So this happened like 2 years ago. So I've been like living with this hip thing, like where I just feel like it's clicking, like something's not right there. And so I started to go see a specialist about it, a chiropractor. And I don't know, and there's this thing out there now, it's called Soft Wave. And it is just amazing where he gets in there and does that. But I'll notice if I'm out swinging the golf club too much, or if I'm, bending over, lifting weights, probably practicing things wrong and using too much of my back. But if I get into a cold plunge, literally, like when I get out, like I'd say 90%, if it's really bad, 90% of my back pain goes away. If it's not too bad, I'll get in for 2 minutes, I'll get out, and my back pain is gone. And honestly, the swelling's down, the inflammation's down. And that's where like things are in there irritated and they're swelling and they inflame. And that's where like the pain comes in, whether it's pressure against my spine, pressure against my hip, whatever that root cause is. And then the other thing that I have found that has helped me is, and I always say it wrong, but turmeric, like a really good high potency, the purest form. I hope I have it. I think I'm taking the most purest form from where I can find anyhow is I take it every day, 7:30 in the morning. And again, it's a habit. I know at 7:30 in the morning, I get my shaker out and I crack it over. It's called the wellness shot. It's got some other things in it, zinc, asparagus, but you got to be careful with it because it'll stain your clothes. It'll stain the countertop. Like it's such good stuff. But I've been taking that for probably close to 2 years, or actually probably longer than that. Cause I always tell everybody that's why I never ended up getting COVID, and I'm knocking on wood right now. But just taking care of everybody to get through and fight things off, and that mental toughness, working, pushing through it, grinding through stuff, is really what this is all about for me. If I can push myself in the gym, I should be able to push myself at work, and taking care of my body so I can take care of other people.
Yeah. It's about priorities.
Yeah. It's really,
that's what I tell people. And if you make excuses, the reason why not, you're not ready.
Yep. Exactly.
There'll be a time when they are, and hopefully it'll be sooner than when they have like an ailment that's forcing them to do it.
Totally. You're absolutely right. Great little nugget there.
I always tell people it's, consistency. So I guess like discipline builds consistency. Your consistency builds your habits. Your habits shape your mindset, and then your mindset determines your success.
Amen.
So it's just stop. It's like, oh, I need to get my mind right. I need to, like, you don't wait to get your mind right. You don't wait to be like, I don't have the motivation. Your motivation comes after you get the results, because that's what pushes you. So you just go and you just do. The days that you don't want to do it are the days that you should do it, because you never regret going to the gym. You never regret eating healthy. The days that you don't are the ones that you are like, man, I should have done that. And stop doing it. Stop get out of your head. Just go. Even if it's for 20 minutes, just do it.
Go. Just do it. That's right. You're absolutely right. And I'm glad you said that, because the days that I don't want to do it, that's actually where the change happens for me. You know what I mean? It's that extra day. It's like, oh, I've worked out for 2 days in a row. Well, you know what I mean? I'm trying to talk myself into not working out that third day. But that's where I see the results. That's where I see, especially in those days, and especially if I'm not in a good mental spot, that's the days I'm supposed to be working out. That's the whole point, not the whole point, but it's at least 50% of the point of me wanting to work out is to, to decompress, to remove that negative thoughts or that thinking, because if I go a day or two without working out, that's really when things really start to bother me. I'm more anxious. I suffer from neurosis. I'm a very neurotic person to begin with anyhow. So like that, I feel like it just kind of keeps me on an even keel here. But we're getting close to our hour mark here. Is there, before we get off here, is there anything a gold nugget that you just want to leave us with, or kind of sum up everything that you explained to us today?
I know. I guess for me, it's just, getting, just like I just said, I guess, is the mindset. People have just like this, if you need help, reach out. There's so many people out there that are willing to help. And granted, yes, there's lots of people that don't, right? Because you're going to have those people that don't understand it, right? They don't get why you're going to the gym, or why you're meal prepping, or why you don't want to go out drinking. But those aren't your people. You got to find those people that that praise you in your success, and all those little accomplishments, and get those people on your side. I had a friend tell me once a long time ago that look at the 5 closest people around you. Those are the people that you're going to be like. And so if you were hanging out with a bunch of partiers, you're going to eventually be that person, even if you aren't now. So look at those 5 people, and if they're negative, change it, because it'll affect you eventually. So reach out, ask for help, find a friend, find a coach, at least get you started. And you can do it. Everybody can do it.
No doubt. No doubt. You are the sum of the 5 people you have surrounded yourself with. No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. So do you take on clients that aren't in your local area? Like if I wanted to reach out to you, and would you work with me?
Yeah. So I do virtual. I use the Trainerize app. So I do like my assessments and things like that, and do weekly check-ins. And then I build a plan, a nutrition plan in my app for them. And they can reach out at any time. And then of course I do the one-on-ones in my local gym, but about half my clients are virtual.
Okay. What is the easiest way for someone to contact you?
I have a website. It's Ray Smith Fitness, RAESmithFitness.com. And I'm on social media with the exact same name, Instagram, Facebook. My phone number is on there as well. They can always text or email.
Awesome.
So yeah,
that's good. So RaySmithFitness.com. We'll put that in the comments there. And basically, to sum this up, is you don't need a 6-pack ab. You just need a backbone. And it starts with one damn workout.
That's right.
That's good stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been a pleasure, an eye-opening experience for me. I know for a fact that it will impact somebody's life out there. If there's somebody watching and they think this show will benefit somebody, please share this with them. And by all means, if they are ready to start on a new journey, a fitness journey, please reach out to RaySmithFitness.com. Rachell Smith, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure. Till next week, everybody. We will see you next week. I believe we'll be live in studio, and I'll probably be solo.